So he carried me away, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
I mean, this is incredible. This is the 4th time this beast has been seen in the Bible. Never did it have a woman on its back before. We never hear an expression of surprise or astonishment from anybody, but now he says, when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. It's not just, he doesn't admire her, he's astonished. A woman rides the beast, and not like in a rodeo, the critter isn't trying to buck her off. She's apparently in control. A woman? On a beast? And this horrible world-devouring creature? And a woman is riding on it, apparently directing it. And I think the Bible makes it very clear who that woman is. Well, he gives us all the identifying characteristics of it.
While the specific identity of the harlot is a matter of great debate, for now it can be said that most scholars agree she represents a world religious system and is called a harlot because of her unfaithfulness to God. It is believed this religious system somehow controls or manipulates the coming one-world government, symbolized by the fact that the woman rides the beast. There are signs the world is speedily coming to an end. These words are attributed to an Assyrian clay tablet dated 2800 BC. It seems that men have believed the end is near in almost every generation. Pope Innocent III pronounced the second coming of Christ in the year 1284 AD because this date was supposedly 666 years after the founding of Islam. There have been many such predictions that have often compelled men to extreme behavior. In 1669, a cult in Russia known as the Old Believers began setting themselves on fire to protect themselves from Antichrist. It is reported that by 1690, 20,000 people had perished as a result. In the 19th century, a second Adventist named William Miller convinced thousands that the world would end in 1843. But when that date came and went, Miller recalculated and claimed the date was really October 22nd of the following year. Charles Taze Russell, the claimed founder of the Jehovah's Witnesses, was convinced by Nelson Barber that Jesus Christ had returned in 1874, but that his return had been invisible. Russell went on to promote this teaching, saying, quote, "The millennium began in 1874 with the return of Christ." Russell would later revise his view, and since then the Jehovah's Witnesses have predicted the world would end in 1914, 1918, 1925, 1941, and 1975. But as contrary as they seem, even these things are the fulfillment of God's prophecies. Jesus said, "Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, and shall deceive many. False prophets shall rise," he said. "Behold, I have told you before." The Lord said that of that day and hour knows no man. Some have taken this to mean that Christians need not pay attention to Bible prophecy. But Jesus also said, "Watch therefore, because you do not know what hour your Lord will come. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch." Considering these things, what is it about this time on earth that sets it apart from all those centuries that have come before us?
Any time prior to the 20th century, the 666 and any other date that has actually been predicted would have been an impossibility as far as what the biblical parameters were in the model that Jesus set forth to show forth the end of the world in Armageddon. And we know that because the Bible told us that Israel would have to become a nation again. We know that Israel would have to become a nation again based on several different prophecies.
I mean, and the most significant prophecy, I think, has to do with the restoration of Israel to its land, which happened in 1948.
Right after World War II, you had this great influx of Jews, who became later Israelis, into the ancient homeland of Israel after 2,000 years of diaspora. 2,000 years, almost. You've got these people coming from all over the world into Israel in 1948. Now, 48 was when they became a homeland, but prior to that, they were all there. From the end of the war, from 45 on, they were there, and we all know what happens. The British pull out, and, a nation becomes a nation in a day. It's kind of bizarre after 2,000 years.
Some have considered that certain prophecies concerning the return of the Jews to the Promised Land may have been fulfilled when they returned from their ancient captivity in Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar. Yet centuries after this return, Jesus prophesied that they would be scattered again in fulfillment of further prophecies. Jesus foretold of the destruction of Jerusalem and the scattering of the Jews, an historic event now known as the diaspora that would occur in 70 AD. He spoke of the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. For there shall be wrath upon this people, he said, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
When he brought them into the land, he warned them, if they disobeyed his voice, he would cast them out, not just next door. He would scatter them to every nation on the face of this earth. You find that in Amos 9:9, you find that in Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. I mean, all through the Bible, over and over and over, God said he would scatter them, he would sift them like wheat among all the nations of the earth. And it happened. We call them the wandering Jew. You find them everywhere. And God said that during their dispersion, they would be hated, persecuted, killed, mocked like no other people on the face of this earth. Anti-Semitism is laid out in detail.
In the Old Testament, God said to the children of Israel, "It shall come to pass, if you will not hearken to the voice of the Lord your God, that all these curses shall come upon you." The Lord shall cause you to be defeated before your enemies, and you shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And you shall be left few in number, whereas you are numerous as the stars of heaven, because you would not obey the Lord your God. And the Lord shall scatter you among all people, from the one end of the earth to the other. And among these nations you will find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot find rest. But the Lord shall give you there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And your life shall hang in doubt before you, and you will be in dread night and day, and shall have no assurance of your life, and no man shall save you. Your sons and your daughters shall be given unto another people, while your eyes look on and yearn for them. But there will be nothing you can do. And you will never be anything but oppressed and crushed continually, so that you will be driven mad by the sight of what you see. And you shall become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, to which the Lord shall lead you.
And there is no people ever in history that has been marked in that way, like the Jews. I mean, that in itself would be enough to tell you that the Bible is true. God said they would be hated and persecuted and killed, but he would not let them be destroyed.
Hear the word of the Lord, O you nations. He who scattered Israel will gather him, and keep him as a shepherd does his flock.
And why do I believe that the Jews are being encouraged to return to their land? Because God foretold that he would bring them all back. He said at the end of the age in Old Testament prophecies that they would not, that he would bring them back as, back to the land. And that once they were back to the land, they would never more be thrown out of it.
And I will bring back my exiled people Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards and drink their wine. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, saith the Lord thy God.
So if you see Israel destroyed and annihilated, well, then we can throw away our Bibles and find another religion to believe in.